Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. Today is going to be an exciting episode. I am totally looking forward to it. I can't wait. Are you ready? You see my finger? Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm totally jacked up. Let's start the show. Hello, hello. My name is Gabrielle. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. So, if you are new to the game, new to the series, new just new all around, this is the web series where we like to get down and dirty about very important topics that fit within our purview. We tend to focus on topics in education, mental health, physical health, employment, anything that we think about it, it's in the back of our minds. We don't usually put it out there. Well, this is the series where we put it out there, and we like to take a lot of different topics, kind of single one out, and we like to explore those particular topics. Excuse me, using an educational lens, an educational and informational point of view. So let's get started. I have to work on my introductions, especially now that I'm doing this live. I got to work on my introduction. So sorry about that. But yes, let's get right to it. So today's topic is one of these rare occasions where I like to repeat topics. So the topic for today is dealing with grief, part two. So there is a part one. You could check it out on our Facebook page, on our YouTube. You could check it out on our Twitter as well. So I like to repeat topics on this web series because there is more than one way to see one topic. There's more than one way to look at things, right? That's kind of what we how should that is how we should be looking at life, right? We don't want to look at it one way. We want to look at it at multiple ways, right? Because there's more than one way to see one thing. So that's why I'm bringing it back. Dealing with grief, there's more than one explanation for something. There's more than one way to view an idea. So we have a repeat topic today. It is dealing with grief, part two. And I have a guest with me who is going to help me out. And he is a repeat guest. So I'm honored that he is coming back and coming back into the hot seat. His name is Overlie. And if you already forgot who he is at this point, I'm just going to remind you who he is. So, who is Michael Overlie? Let me tell you who he is. So, Michael Overlie is a lifelong dog fanatic. He has had a gift of connecting with animals since he was a small child. Mm. Dogs have been with him most of his life, giving him gifts and teaching him lessons. His greatest breakthrough was after the death of his brother, which we're going to go into today. While grieving this loss, he was fully awakened to his own potential and the gifts our animals bring to our lives. Now he helps other men awaken to the gifts available to them from their dogs. He has dedicated himself to assisting men and their dogs discover their path to living a life of purpose, being extraordinary. Remembering, This is Michael's purpose, his mission on this earth. From helping save lives in a trauma center to doing energy healing work with people and animals, Michael's love for life shines through. He has trained in multiple energy healing modalities and infuses spiritual energy into everything he teaches, providing a safe space for healing and growth to occur. He knows what your dog is trying to show you and teach you. Come join him on a powerful expedition of finding you, remembering who you are. So I am going to bring him to the stage right now. Ah,
Yay!
welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm good, Gabrielle. How are you?
I'm well. Welcome back to Hot
Well,
Topics.
thank you. See
Glad
if I
I
can get
did.
myself centered.
I'm glad I did not scare you away. All right.
Uh-huh.
So let's get right into it. So the topic is dealing with grief. We've mentioned it in the previous two episodes that we did together. You did mention the passing of your brother. So I'm gonna have you start off with that story. So if you wouldn't mind jumping into that and
Sure.
uh, reminding us what happened with your brother.
Sure. Absolutely. Ooh. Yeah, this was huge, huge for me and for my family. My brother was born with a bad heart, and he had had multiple heart surgeries by the time he had passed. And he was actually waiting for another one. He needed another aortic procedure, and his aortic valve was starting to fail. Um, and we knew it was coming, right? We knew it was coming sometime, and he was getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. He had told me, but it was still just this like, holy crap, I can't believe it. So I got a call like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was from my mom, and she never called me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I knew instantly. I sat up and saw my phone. And I said, Bobby's dying, and I called her, and she told me that he was in the ICU, on a bunch of machines and a bunch of IVs. And so I got up, headed out, and drove up to a couple, half, 3 hours or something, anyway, to where hospital where he was at. And yeah, he didn't even look like him. It was this husk of a body. And we decided to let him go. So my dad flew in, and, consensus was made just to let him go. And through, I cried. I held him while he was dying, taking his last breaths, and that was extremely powerful for me. And then immediately afterwards, I kind of, manned up again, toughened up, haha. And not long after that, I got back home, and I just broke open. I I didn't know what was going on. I was writhing in pain and crying and sobbing, and just it was just unbelievable. Um, Later I realized I wasn't just grieving him, I was grieving all these things in my life that I had never been able to let go of. I just buried and stuffed down and kept hidden even from myself. Things I'd forgotten started to pop in. Um, it was horrible and fantastic at the same time. I had never felt anything like it. But what came from that was this incredible peace, and there was actually beauty that came out of all this after I started to realize, um, that these things happen for a reason. It may not be something that we like, it may not be something we understand, but this grief and my breaking open allowed me to take this incredibly deep look at myself and realize I didn't like who I was. But now I realize I can change. I realize I can change. Um, I had this amazing dog with me who started teaching me other things along the way. And just he taught me how to be more gentle. I kind of always thought of myself as a tough guy. And this pit bull mix taught me how to be sweet and gentle and slow and soft and still have strength and power in my life. Um, it's just amazing. I miss my brother terribly. But what came out of his passing was my opening, my beginning to really live my life and shine and turn around and help other people to realize that there are gifts. There are all these amazing hidden gifts in places that we would never think to look, ever think to look. So, yeah. No,
Ah, thank you so much for sharing. I do appreciate that. So, a few things that I picked up. It it sounds like his death was um, a turning point in your life. So it wasn't just it was more than just that you lost a sibling. It was like you said, it was something opened up for you. Can you dive into that a little bit more?
yeah, absolutely. Um, the way I was raised, as was he, although he got around it better than I did, was this macho tough guy, singularly focused, push hard, drive for whatever you want. Um, I have to do it by myself mentality. And at the end of the day, no one ever does everything by themselves, right? You don't do everything by yourself. I mean, you didn't build your own car, right? You didn't build your house. We like to think that we're, independent. I realized that there was so much more. That cracking open and releasing all this pain, these tears, all this, there's a lot of fear wrapped up around all of it. I was able to release so much. And it was like, I'd been looking out a dirty window forever, and somebody just kind of went like this and said, "Now take a look." It's like, oh, there's more out there. Um, it was hugely transformational for me, hugely transformational.
So you felt all these emotions because I heard you bring it up a couple times, and even in the previous episodes,
Mhm,
or you brought up manliness and being
mhm.
this, um, manliness and masculinity. So I heard you mention it a few times. So when your brother died, it was like a release for you because you felt all these emotions that you you weren't allowed to feel. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, part of it was I didn't know. I was not raised to express myself or be able to express myself. It was kind of the opposite in our household. No, shh, shh, stuff it down, bury it. Don't want to hear about it. Go to your church, whatever it was. And I'm not shaming and blaming my folks. That's where they were at. It was this deep release of all these things and other things that had happened, to him, to us, to the family, to myself, that I never really dealt with. That was a huge part of it. So there was all these emotions and all these situations and all these things that had just been stacked on top of each other, and it was like a little volcano. It was time to go. So his death, although I miss him terribly, he gave me this incredible gift so that I could live a better life.
What was that, and what was that gift?
The gift of being able to feel my emotions, right? To allow whatever it was to come, to be with it. Some stuff I was able to fully release, other things I'm still working on. That's just life. But he showed me that no matter what, I was going to be okay and that I could choose how I wanted to live my life.
And what makes that such a gift?
Because I didn't know that before. I don't think a lot of us know it. Well, I think we're living somebody else's dream. We grow up and people tell us what's important, whether it's owning a house by this age, or getting this kind of job, or go for this kind of car or truck, um, live in this place because it's that's where the fancy people live. Whatever it is, that's not ours. These are things that people tell us. These are roles and identities that that are put upon us and that we actually take on. Um, and people say, "Oh, live a dream." Well, whose dream is it? It might actually be a nightmare to you because it doesn't feel right, but you're doing it because the Joneses are doing it, the Johnsons and the Smiths and the McCartys are doing it. The gift is being able to allow whatever it is to come and to feel it, to be in that hurt and still be able to find peace.
So the ability to be at peace within yourself and to feel real and not feel um I don't know if I'm putting words in your mouth, but not feeling like a robot, like you actually feel like a human being.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's part of it. Um, people don't. A lot of people don't understand that if you don't know what that pain it really feels like and where it comes from, then I don't think they can fully appreciate the true bliss and beauty available in life. People want to be happy, right? They want nice things, they want a nice place, but they don't understand that they're in control of making other decisions for themselves that could get them to a place they want. But they're going to have to ask for help a lot of times. That's another thing we don't do. I started asking for help. I started seeking out people and things that would help me. I wanted to learn more.
And did did you learn something along the way as all this was happening?
Oh, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I learned that I don't know a darn thing. All these things that I thought held fast and true of how to be, how to show up in the world. I was like, oh, what a bunch of malarkey, you know? Um, and everybody has these thoughts. People have thoughts that they will know. Oh, I don't want anybody to know that I was thinking that because they're going to think I'm nuts or need to be locked up or that, that I'm angry all the time. People have thoughts. Everybody has thoughts and feelings, but you have a choice over what to do with that. You have a total choice over what to do with that.
Of course, of course. So I'm going to bring it back a little bit. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You get the call from your mom.
Mhm.
Your brother is in the hospital. What's happening? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? Take me to that moment.
Oh, at first, oh God, I thought this sounded horrible before, but I don't now because I get it. It was kind of a relief. It's like, oh, he's finally gonna go, right? Part of it was a relief for us because he was sick all the time. Um, and part of it was a huge relief for him because he was sick all the time. He was this really gentle, sweet guy that he was always had some kind of physical battle. Um, he got bullied as a kid and picked on, and he was just a big, sweet guy. And he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to. He just was gentle. He was a big, gentle guy. Um, so it was bittersweet. Um, I was going to lose somebody who I considered one of my heroes, right? But I knew that he was finally just going to be able to let go of everything, and that was amazing. That was amazing. Um, yeah, yeah. As I held him in the hospital, turned all the machines off, pulled the IVs, did all that, and he was just taking his final breaths. I was just holding him, kissing him on the cheek, and saying, it's okay to go. You go. We're good. We'll be all right." You know, because I was remembering a lot of the stuff that he taught me.
All right. He he taught you to be gentle, to be kind, to be understanding.
Yeah, yeah, forgiving. He planted all these seeds over all these years. He planted all these seeds that I've been watering and watching them grow, and yeah, it's quite fantastic.
So so you were there. when he finally died? You said you held him as he finally passed, right?
Hmm.
So take me to that moment when he finally closed his eyes for the last time. What were you feeling? What were you thinking? What was happening?
Oh, I was sad as hell. I was crying and holding my mom, and my dad was kind of like, "Don't touch me." Um, and and we kind of stood there and looked at him, and then it was really interesting as I was watching him. He had stopped breathing and declared dead. I was looking at him and I was like, "Well, who's that?" It didn't even look like. I'm like, "That's not my brother, right?" Because he was gone. you know, he was already gone, and I felt, I don't know, it felt really strange. I'm like, "Well, he was just here. Who's the guy laying in the bed over there?" That was really interesting. I didn't think about that till later. But that husk, that body that was laying there wasn't him. That was pretty interesting. Um, yeah, I was really, really sad and then really, really happy for him at the same time. And that brought me a little sense of peace.
So, well, you said that when you got home after he passed, that's when you started to break down and the floodgates opened up. So I'm wondering if before, how were you still feeling all those emotions? Because it sounds like you were still feeling those emotions. So did it start to open up a little bit before, as on the way to the hospital? Was it a complete open closet type thing? I'm wondering how much did you feel on your way to the hospital?
Yeah, no, that was not even close to what happened later. That was like, I don't know. I was like, oh, okay. Again, it was sense of relief. Um, I wasn't really upset. I wasn't crying. Um, I was just like, okay, been waiting for this. We all knew it was coming. All right, let's go up there and see what happens. I know he's leaving today, but let's go up and see what happens. Um, yeah, it wasn't until um, after I'd gotten home after the event when I was by myself again, just with my dog, and um, all of a sudden, just yeah,
So let's delve into that a little bit because you mentioned it a couple of times. You knew he was gonna go. It wasn't a surprise. Can you explore that a little bit?
yeah. Like I said, he was waiting for another heart surgery. He'd had a number of them. One actually, he got paralyzed at 18 from. This one was going to be a big one because it was aortic and aortic valve, and there's only like three guys in the country who are really good at doing that procedure. Um, so I can back up a little bit to Thanksgiving before this. Um, we all got together, and he did not look good. He did not sound good. Um, and I remember talking to my buddy Mike, who was there with us, and also telling my mom, I said, "Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be around long." So I was kind of ready for that. Um, yeah, that was that was interesting. I was more relaxed about it than I thought I would have been.
How so? Explain that a little bit more.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't that upset. I wasn't, you know, I didn't have this great sense of loss at the time. He'd been sick like forever, right? His first heart surgery at 5 years old, and then he had a number of them afterwards. So it wasn't like a shocker that he was having trouble. Um, I guess I had accepted a long time ago that he was going to go. It wasn't like, ooh, big surprise. Guess what? He got hit by a bus.
Mhm. Well, I'm noticing the change. So like it's sort of like you mentally prepared for the end, right? And then
Hmm.
the end finally came, but then you did a 180 and you broke down emotionally?
I wouldn't say it was a 180. I said I was still going forward. At the time, I was accepting that he was going to be going. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Um, I knew I had to get up there. I wanted to support my mom, so I just, remained calm and tried to be there for her. And I knew my dad was coming, and um, you know, I didn't feel like I needed to do anything at the time. I was just going with it. It was later after I got home, something said, yeah, it's okay to cry. So then I'm like, okay. So I started thinking about it. Then I started crying, and then the floodgates open. I didn't go backwards at all. I went forward.
Hmm. So, as you were crying, I'm wondering if you felt less manly, less like a man, because you mentioned before you weren't allowed to feel those emotions, and your father was setting that example for you. And of course, and at the time of your brother's death, he still was stoic in a way. So I'm wondering, when those tears were coming down your face, were you feeling less like a man?
Didn't even enter my awareness. Had nothing to do with it.
So it just went out the window just like that.
Yeah, there was no window to open. It wasn't even. I wasn't even a part of it. I would just and was able to open and release. I didn't care if someone heard me. I didn't think about it. I didn't worry about it. I didn't think I was being a wimp. Wasn't even part of it.
So what's your understanding of masculinity now? What do you think that means to you?
I think masculine is an energy. It's not just a body type. Um, we have these strong beliefs, at times misdirected around gender roles, and man is masculine, woman is feminine. Well, there's traits on both sides. Both of them have traits of the other energetically. So I don't think that being a man now is, you know, being dictatorial and tough and driving a big truck and fancy or a fancy car and having a big house and I'm the provider and um, everybody needs to listen to what I say. That's not what a masculine person is. That's not a real man, not anymore. I used to think that, but no. I mean, you can have someone who is physically strong also be gentle and sweet and loving. Is that masculine? Is that feminine? Is it both? Yeah.
So it's because you it's not as important to you anymore, because what's more important to you is feeling all those emotions that you weren't able to feel for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm still learning and I'm still growing and I'm still allowing things to come. I haven't stopped doing my work just because I feel better. I know there's still more. I still want to be happier. I want to be able to release more. I want to be more forgiving. I want to be more compassionate. I'm not worried about being a man. Mm-mm. Nope.
Nope, you're done with that.
Well, not fully, right? I'm not going to have an operation or anything, but yeah, there's so much focus, and I don't know if it keeps us from having to deal with our stuff. If I just do this, if I act this way, that's acceptable. Okay, I'm a man. And I'm not putting anybody down. If anybody's watching this, I'm not slamming anyone. I'm talking about myself and how I used to be. Um, yeah, I don't worry about it as much anymore. There's still some in there. I'm still dealing with some things, but um, yeah, no, I think everybody's capable of something, and you find out what you absolutely love. Go do that. Who cares what it is?
So now let's go into your parents' reactions a little bit. And you brought it up briefly. Tell me about your mom. How did she react when your brother finally passed?
Oh, she was miserable. That was her second son that she had lost. Um, yeah, she was openly crying, right, and weeping, sobbing. She just lost another boy. I can't imagine. I have no freaking clue what that's like. I don't have kids, and she just lost her second. So, yeah, she was pretty upset. She was pretty upset. Yeah, don't know what that's like.
Oh, can you talk about the first one? What happened there?
He died of childbirth. I didn't, he was before me. I don't know that much about it. They didn't want to talk about it much. So,
Mm. And your dad, you said that like don't come near me, don't touch
hmm
me.
yeah, he was just you know hand out like don't do it, and he barely let out a peep. I'm like, I didn't give a crap. My brother's dying. I'm gonna cry. And he was, yeah, he wasn't gonna go there.
So now I'm wondering if that was like an FU to your dad because you mentioned in the previous episode that you cut him off. And you had a dysfunctional relationship with him. So I'm wondering at that moment, you're like, screw it, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna be sad. I'm wondering if that was you were sticking it to your dad.
No, not at all. Didn't even go in my awareness. I was just losing my brother.
Mm. Of- And it's what you went through is I can imagine is a very a very big thing. You know, he was your older brother, right?
Mhm.
And you're watching him be sick all the time and getting all these surgeries and going to hospital and when he finally passed it was such a relief, right? So it's this I can imagine, you two were very close, it seems like.
Mhm.
And while you were preparing for the end, right? That when the end actually comes, it's not what you expected.
No, I mean you can prepare for anything, you think you're preparing for anything in life, and it just may not turn out the way you expect it to. Um, your perspective may be different on it. The situation may change. Um, yeah, I mean, I didn't go into it thinking, okay, I'm a man now. I'm not going to cry. Um, I'd never lost a brother before. I didn't know what I was going to get into, but I knew I was going to go and I was going to be present and support who I could support, and that was it.
So let's get into the aftermath a little bit. So 2 or 3 days later, your brother is not there. You don't hear his voice. You don't see his body. What's happening? Take me through that.
Mm. So, yeah, I couldn't call him, right? Couldn't call him, couldn't text him, and I had his cell phone, and I started going through his pictures on his cell phone, and that was hard. It was really hard. He used to love sunsets or sunrises, and we'd send each other pictures. Hey, I was over at blank 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 and saw this, or um. So going through those pictures, I think helped it really sink in that shit, he's not coming back. Um, yeah, that was really interesting. That was really powerful for me. Um, yeah, pictures of a lot of friends, and I was like, oh no, none of these other people are going to see Bob again. He loved kids. He loved kids. He had all these pictures of him and his friends' kids, and yeah, that was really interesting. Um, I don't know what the catalyst was for, and I don't know exactly how many days it was either, but yeah, something just said, no, he's not coming back. He's not coming back, and you need to open up and let this go. And yeah, I listened to somebody's advice that was better than my own.
Wait, whose advice? What was the advice?
Oh, I don't know. It's from God, the universe. It wasn't like my neighbor telling me to do it. Just something just said you need to open up and let this out. You need to let it go.
Mm. You need to just stop holding on.
Yeah, yeah. Stop holding on to everything so tight. And this is the time to be sad and let this stuff out.
So, when did your brother die?
March of 2017.
All right, so that was
Almost 5 years.
we're coming up to 5 years. All right, so take me to right now. We're in the present, this moment. 5 year anniversary is coming up. What's going through your mind?
Oh, I'm just gonna smile and tell him I love him. I still miss him. I really do. I really do. But I don't grieve him anymore, which is really interesting for me to say. Um, yeah, he set me on this other path to learn to open up to all this stuff that I didn't want to deal with. And I've been going to work. I've been working real hard on a lot of things, and I still have a ways to go. But I'm grateful. I'm freaking grateful for this guy planting seeds from the time I was a little kid to the time he passed.
So tell me more about those seeds. Maybe you mentioned it before, but tell me more about those seeds.
He was just showing me differently how to be in the world because he was less reactive. He was um, quicker to forgive. He was more gentle. He was more sweet. I had periods where I could be sweet, but he was a really sweet man. Um, and as kids, he just had this soft presence, and he was always bigger than me, but he was just soft and gentle and beautiful. And he could be a real weenie too, but he was always doing these things just natural to him. It's not like he was attempting to teach me a lesson, but in his behaviors and actions, he was constantly showing me something different,
Different than what you're used to.
different than what I was doing. Yeah, and different from the lessons I was learning and the messages I was receiving. I think we heard a lot of the same stuff, um, but he didn't take a lot of that in.
He wasn't worried about being manly.
No, a little bit, but not nowhere near what I was.
And I wonder, how did your father react to that?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Hmm.
He didn't have a lot to do with this. From um, God, I don't know. I was still little. He wasn't around much. He was just working all the time. So our interactions with him, a lot of times, we didn't see him for days. Um, and he was not a smiley, happy guy. We'll say that.
Hmm. So when you said just a while ago that you don't grieve your brother anymore,
Hmm.
what do you mean by that?
Just that. I have no grief over his loss, over his passing. Yeah, I mean, I miss my brother,
Okay.
but I'm not sad that I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he's gone. I don't have that. I don't have that anymore.
So you've moved forward.
Oh yeah, and I'm still moving forward. I'm still moving forward. Earlier this year, my little buddy Darby, who was my dog at the time when Bob died, he got sick and passed in May, and that gave me yet another opportunity to allow myself to open up and grieve. I mean, that dog was, he was everything to me. Um, and he was a little magician and a healer and funny. He was great. He was great. He taught me a ton.
So it sounds like you had the way that you dealt with your grief. You had a few things. It's sort of you prepared for the end ahead of time, and then you, even when the end came, you just kind of broke down crying, emotional. You just let all those emotions come out. And it's interesting that you said, s- uh screw masculinity, screw all that. I'm just going to bawl my eyes out right now.
Hmm.
So you all that away, and then before again, and then that you had dogs that you leaned on to help you grieve. So it sounded like there was a few things that you had, a few tools that you had that you were able to get past this.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't well prepared, socially, emotionally for that, but um, I knew how much I was cared for and loved by my brother, and how much I cared for and loved him, and that was huge for me. That was really huge. It's like, um, I was fortunate. Like we hadn't had this argument and this rift, and oh God, I wish I would have told him this last thing or this one thing, or we had made up, or so I didn't have regrets around that. I had other little regrets which I was able to let go of. Um, but it was, yeah, I was super fortunate. And I was at a place where I was willing to allow this stuff to come. You know, I know plenty of tough guys still who you know, they won't allow this stuff to come even during a big loss.
Do you see yourself in a much better place compared to those men?
As far as that, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't like comparing my life to other people's because everybody's where they're at. But I can say, for the most part, I'm probably a hell of a lot happier than most people I know.
Mm,
Um,
of course, of course. So I know all things are going fabulous, but we're going to start to wind down.
okay.
So, do you have any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share in regards to the grieving process, in regards to masculinity, and in regards to anything? What words would you like to impart to the viewers?
Absolutely. For the guys out there, if you think having that tough guy syndrome is really working for you, take another look. Are you really happy? Um, yeah, yeah. So we all have losses in our lives, and we can grieve small things. We can grieve big things, loss of a relative, a loved one, friend. But throughout, it's okay to allow yourself to feel. We're told to hide and bury our feelings and not express. It's huge. It's a game changer for the rest of your life. Allow this stuff. You don't have to just break down crying like I did. Just a little bit. Allow a little bit. And then afterwards you can go, oh, that really wasn't that bad. And, the whole planet isn't judging me because I cried a little bit. So give yourself a break. Allow yourself to feel a little bit more. And then the next time you can feel a little bit more.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for sharing. It definitely takes a lot to talk about this.
No, you're welcome. You're
All
welcome.
right. So let me get your banner up. All right. So, you guys, you can follow Michael on social media. He is on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. So, definitely check him out. He is a life coach. Life coach?
Um, I, I'm now calling it a canine partnered energy coach.
Ah, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so all the energy healing that I've done, I realized that, I was going to be this big healer. And I was going to go out and save all the animals. And I realized that all these things I was training in and the animals I was working with were helping me to help myself. Oh, freaking fantastic. These animals are so smart. Oh my God. We think we have intelligence. We can't touch the wisdom that these animals have. So I work with these guys and their dogs to help access places, parts that they don't want to get to or have been afraid to go to through their beautiful dog. It's amazing.
Absolutely. So, if you think you can use those, if you can be, and if you can use those services, right? So definitely contact Michael. His information is scrolling below. If you would like more information about those services, you can check out his website, www.dogsandmen.com. So definitely check him out. And just want to make sure we get this before we close. You have a book that you like to promote.
I do have a book around here somewhere. Where is that thing? I think I stuffed it away here earlier. It's called Let Your Dog Lead.
Ah,
So, this is an invitation to all the things that I went through in the last 5 years and how um, just taking one little step at a time can show you so much and help you have an exceptional life.
fabulous. And where can people get the book?
Oh, good question. Amazon. There's a Kindle and a paperback version in Barnes and Noble, or you can order through your bookstore because it's distributed by Ingram.
Fabulous. So you heard that right, guys. Go out there and get that book.
Thank you.
All right, Michael, thank you so much for joining me again. And I am going to place you backstage. And you guys, it is just you and me. So let me get my little banner. I'm going to get my banner up right now. And we have reached the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. Whether you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, wherever you're watching this on social media, check out our social media for more videos and clips. And don't forget to follow us. So if you're on Facebook, press that like button. If you're on YouTube, press that subscribe button. If you are on Twitter, press that follow button. So definitely stay in touch with us. And while you're at it, let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a comment in the comments section below. And as a reminder, we are A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you would like to learn more about our services, our workshops, the things that we have to offer, check out our website at www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. And you can also sign up for our email list and texting list. The links are scrolling below right now, and it is in the description if you are watching this video on YouTube. So definitely check all that out. And I'm going to play this last message before we close for the episode.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider making a donation to our company. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, put on productions like this web series, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. Note: we're a for-profit company. We're not a charity. Your donation may not be tax deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
Yes, yes. So your donations will be greatly appreciated. So thank you for joining us for another episode. I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Now I am signing off.